Not all poisons are fast-acting. Some do not come in a bottle marked with a skull and crossbones. The most dangerous poisons are the ones that are slow, tasteless, and served to you in beautiful cups, often by people you love, and sometimes even by your own hand. They are the quiet habits, the comfortable resentments, the socially acceptable attachments that are, drop by drop, silently destroying your soul from within. You may be feeling their effects already. It is a low-grade exhaustion that no amount of sleep can cure. It is a subtle but persistent feeling of being stuck in your life, of moving without momentum. It is a quiet anxiety that hums just beneath the surface of your days, a sense that something is profoundly off, even when everything looks perfectly fine on the outside. You search for the source of this malaise, this slow draining of your life force, but you cannot find it, because you have been taught to look for external threats, not for the poisons you have allowed to become a part of your daily life. This video is the antidote. It is a field guide to identifying the 5 most common slow poisons that women unknowingly tolerate. These are not obvious dangers. They are psychological patterns and energetic attachments that masquerade as normal and even virtuous parts of life. They are the invisible forces that are holding you back, draining your vitality, and destroying your potential for true freedom and joy. We will not just name these poisons, we will teach you the subtle, powerful, and courageous art of silently removing them. This is not about dramatic confrontations or burning bridges. It is about a series of quiet, internal, and sovereign choices that will detoxify your mind, your energy, and your life from the inside out. This is your intervention, and it begins now. The first slow poison is one that is so deeply ingrained in our culture that we have been taught to see it as a virtue. It is the constant, draining, and ultimately futile effort you expend on trying to make other people understand you. This is the need for others to understand you. This is the poison that has you spending hours composing the perfect text message, trying to find the exact combination of words that will finally make him see your point of view. It is the poison that keeps you on the phone for an hour, going in circles, presenting your case, offering evidence for your feelings, hoping that the other person will finally have a breakthrough and say, "Now I get it." This need is born from a deep and painful wound, the belief that your own inner reality is not valid until it has been co-signed and approved by an external party. It is a form of the validation trap. You have, without realizing it, become the lone defense attorney for your own soul. And you are constantly on trial presenting your case to a jury of your partner, your family, or your friends, a jury that is often not interested in the truth, but only in its own preconceived verdict. This is an unwinnable game, and it is a profound waste of your life force. You are pouring your precious creative energy into a black hole of other people's limitations. You cannot make someone understand you who is committed to misunderstanding you. You cannot force someone to see your reality when they are blinded by their own. So how do you silently remove this poison from your life? You do it by firing the jury. You do it with the quiet, internal, and revolutionary decision to become the sole and final judge of your own reality. The antidote is the profound understanding that your truth does not require a witness to be valid. The silent removal is the practice of our sovereign statement. It is the art of stating your truth and then letting it stand, naked and powerful, without the need for a long, defensive explanation. When you make a decision that is right for you and someone asks, why, you must resist the old poisonous impulse to present your case. You do not need to show them your evidence. You do not need them to agree. The practice is to simply state your truth, because this is what is right for me. When you express a feeling and someone says, "I don't understand why you feel that way," you must resist the urge to convince them. Your feeling is not a thesis to be debated. It is a fact of your inner landscape. The practice is to calmly say, "You don't have to understand it. You only have to know that it is how I feel." This is not an act of aggression. It is an act of profound energetic conservation. You are making a conscious choice to stop pouring your energy into the unwinnable game of seeking external validation. You are taking all of that beautiful, powerful energy and you are investing it back into the one place where it can actually create something, your own life. You are silently removing the poison by refusing to drink it any longer. The second slow poison is one that we often cherish in secret, We see it not as a poison, but as a form of justice. It is the heavy, invisible ledger you carry with you everywhere you go. It is your secret scoreboard of resentment. This is the mental tally of every time you have been wronged, every disappointment, every unfairness. It is a meticulous and detailed record. There is a column for your partner, for the times he did not appreciate you. There is a column for your family, for the ways they have taken you for granted. There is a column for your friends, for the times they did not show up for you in the way you showed up for them. You are the judge, the jury, and the diligent scorekeeper of a game that only you are playing. And you believe this scoreboard is your power. You believe it is your evidence, the proof you are gathering for a future trial where you will finally be able to say, look at how much I have suffered. Look at how much I have been wronged. But this is a tragic illusion. The scoreboard is not your power. It is your prison. The weight of this heavy book is not crushing them. It is crushing you. This is a poison that works with a slow and devastating efficiency. On a psychological level, resentment keeps you chained to the past. It forces you to relive your most painful moments over and over again in the courtroom of your own mind. It is a form of self-haunting, where you are both the ghost and the one being haunted. This constant replaying of old wounds drains your mental and creative energy, leaving no space for the new, beautiful, and joyful possibilities of the present moment. On a biological level, resentment, like the need for understanding, is a state of chronic low-grade stress. It keeps the river of cortisol flowing through your body. It is an inflammation of the soul that manifests as an inflammation of the cells. It is a slow poison that ages you not from the outside in, but from the inside out. So how do you silently remove a poison that feels so justified? A poison that you have been taught to see as a form of righteous anger. You do it with one of the most misunderstood and most powerful acts of sovereignty a human being can perform. You do it with the practice of radical forgiveness, but this is not the weak, codependent forgiveness that you have been taught. It is not about absolving the other person. It is not about saying, what you did was okay. It is not about forgetting. It is not for them. It is a fierce and radical act of self-preservation that is 100% for you. Radical forgiveness is the silent, internal decision to wipe the scoreboard clean every single morning. It is the choice to refuse to carry yesterday's grievances into the pristine, untouched landscape of a new day. The practice is this: when you wake up and the ghosts of yesterday's resentments begin to whisper, you will not engage them. You will not argue with them. You will simply, with a calm and sovereign intention, take out your imaginary eraser, and you will wipe the scoreboard clean. You say to your own soul, we are not playing that game today. Yesterday is finished. Its debts are cancelled. Today we begin with a score of 0. This is not about letting them get away with it. It is about you getting away from it. It is the understanding that in the game of resentment, the only person who truly suffers is the scorekeeper. By refusing to keep score, you are not letting them win. You are walking off the field and refusing to play a game that was destroying you. You are choosing your freedom. The third slow poison is perhaps the most seductive, because it disguises itself as one of our most beautiful qualities, the ability to see the best in people. It is a poison that feels like hope, but it is a hope that keeps you chained to a fantasy. It is the addiction to a person's potential. This is the poison of falling in love, not with the person who is standing in front of you, but with the person you believe they could be. You meet a man and you see a glimmer of gold, a moment of kindness, a flash of brilliance, a hint of depth. And from that single glimmer, your soul, in its infinite creativity, constructs an entire, magnificent, golden statue. You then spend months or even years in a relationship with that statue, all while the real human man beside you continues to act from his leaden reality. This is the energy of the almost relationship we have discussed before, but it can exist even in a long-term partnership. It is the act of waiting for a cactus to produce figs. You see the strong, resilient cactus, and you are a hopeful person, so you imagine it laden with sweet, juicy figs. And so you wait. You water the cactus. You tend to it. You tell yourself, one day the figs will come. But a cactus is not a fig tree. and to spend your life waiting for it to become one is a guarantee of your own starvation. This poison manifests as the constant act of making excuses. He is emotionally distant, but you tell yourself he has the potential to be so loving once he heals his past. He is inconsistent, but you tell yourself he has the potential to be a great partner once his career settles down. He is disrespectful, but you tell yourself he has the potential to be a good man, he just had a difficult childhood. You are living on a diet of crumbs, but you are convincing yourself that you are in a relationship with a feast that is just around the corner. This is a subtle and devastating form of self-abandonment. You are abandoning the reality of your own present-day needs in favor of a fantasy of a future that may never come. So how do you silently remove this sweet, hopeful poison from your life? You do it with the sober, grounding, and profoundly liberating practice of radical acceptance. Radical acceptance is not about becoming cynical or pessimistic. It is about becoming a realist. It is the courageous and sovereign act of choosing to see people for who they are showing you they are, not for who you wish they would be. It is the practice of valuing a person's consistent patterns of behavior over their occasional grand gestures or their pretty words. The silent removal is a shift in your focus. You must train your mind to stop asking the question, what is his potential? And to start asking the far more important question, what is his reality? The practice is to become a gentle but honest scientist of your own relationship. Observe the data. Not just the data from the one beautiful moment last week, but the data from the last 6 months. What is the consistent pattern? Does the pattern show a man who is actively working to be better? Or does it show a man who is comfortable in his current state, offering just enough hope to keep you waiting for a harvest that will never arrive? This is not a confrontation you have with him. It is a moment of brutal and liberating honesty you have with yourself. The silent break with this poison is the moment you look at the cactus and you finally, and without anger, accept that it is a cactus, and you decide that you are no longer willing to starve while waiting for figs. The fourth slow poison is a particularly insidious one, for it masquerades as your greatest virtue. It is the role that is so often assigned to the most compassionate, wise, and empathetic woman in the room. It is the exhausting, unpaid, and soul-draining job of being the unofficial therapist. You know if this is you. You are the strong one. You are the one everyone comes to with their problems. Your phone is a constant stream of other people's crises. Your conversations are rarely about you. They are a deep dive into the dramas, the heartbreaks, and the struggles of your friends, your family, and often your partner. You are a brilliant and compassionate listener. You give incredible advice. You are a hospital for wounded souls, and your door is always open. And your ego loves this role. It feels good to be needed. It feels good to be the wise one, the one who can fix things. It gives you a sense of purpose and of value. But your soul is quietly suffocating. The doctor is exhausted. The hospital is running out of medicine. You spend so much of your life forced tending to the wounds of others that you have no time and no energy left to attend to your own. This is not a sustainable way to live. It is a slow and noble form of self-erasure. In your romantic relationships, this dynamic is particularly destructive. You attract men who are projects, who need healing, and you fall into the familiar role of the therapist. The connection is not based on an equal partnership, but on a codependent dynamic of healer and wounded. And when he is finally healed, often through your tireless efforts, he will leave you, for the very dynamic that brought you together is no longer necessary. So how do you silently remove a poison that is so intertwined with your identity as a good and caring person? You do it by learning the art of compassionate detachment. This is not about becoming cold or uncaring. It is about learning to be a compassionate witness to another person's pain without taking responsibility for it. It is the understanding that the most respectful thing you can do for another person is to trust that they are the ultimate expert on their own life and that they have the inner resources to solve their own problems. The silent removal is a profound shift in your conversational posture. You will move from being the fixer to being the space holder. The practice is this. When a person comes to you with their problem, you will still listen with your full, beautiful, and empathic heart. But you will resist the old compulsive urge to offer advice, to share your own similar story, or to try and solve their problem for them. Instead, after you have listened, you will ask a simple but revolutionary question. A question that gently hands the power and the responsibility back to them. You will say, "That sounds incredibly difficult. What do you feel is your next step?" Or, "I can feel how much pain you're in. What do you think is the most loving thing you can do for yourself right now?" These questions are an act of profound respect. They communicate, "I am here with you in your pain, but I trust you to be the hero of your own story." This is the silent break with the poison. You are not rejecting them. You are refusing to continue the disempowering dynamic of rescuing them. You are, in that moment, honoring both their sovereignty and your own. You are closing the doors to the 24-hour emergency room, and you are finally creating the time and the sacred space to begin to heal the one patient you have been neglecting for far too long: yourself. The fifth and final slow poison is the most silent and the most pervasive. It is a gentle thief that does not steal your possessions, but something far more precious, your life itself. It is your quiet, reasonable, and lifelong agreement with later. This is the poison of procrastination, disguised as prudence. It is the chain of perfectionism disguised as high standards. It is the deeply ingrained belief that your real life has not yet begun, that you are in a perpetual state of preparation for a grand opening night that is always and forever tomorrow. This is the voice that whispers, "I will start my own business when I have more experience. I will leave this unfulfilling relationship when I feel more financially secure. I will travel the world when the children are grown. I will finally allow myself to feel beautiful when I lose the last 10 pounds. A woman poisoned by her agreement with later is like a magnificent actress who has been cast in the leading role of her own life. But she spends her entire life in a dress rehearsal. She is endlessly practicing her lines, perfecting her costumes, and preparing for the day when she will finally feel ready to step onto the stage. But opening night is always tomorrow. She lives in a state of perpetual potential, a beautiful fantasy of the life she will one day live, all while the real, present and precious moments of her actual life are passing by, unnoticed. This is the ego's most clever trap. It is a strategy born from a profound and paralyzing fear of failure. The ego's logic is this: if you never truly begin, you can never truly fail. If the play never opens, you can never get a bad review. By living in a constant state of getting ready, you protect yourself from the messy, imperfect, and terrifying reality of actually living. So how do you silently remove a poison that feels so responsible, a poison that has become the very architecture of your life? You do it with a single, courageous, and revolutionary act of rebellion against your own mind. You do it with the practice of the first imperfect step. The silent removal of this poison is the conscious decision to declare that the dress rehearsal is over. Today is opening night. You are going on stage, as you are right now, unprepared, imperfect, and gloriously, terrifyingly ready. The practice is this: identify one single area of your life that you have been putting off for later, and then you must take one small, messy, imperfect action toward it today. If you have been waiting to be ready to start your business, your first imperfect step is to buy the domain name today. Not to build the whole website, just to claim your small piece of digital land. If you have been waiting to be ready to feel beautiful, your first imperfect step is to go into your closet and put on the one outfit that makes you feel magnificent, even if you're just staying home. If you have been waiting to be ready to heal, your first imperfect step is to send one email to find a therapist or to buy one book on the topic that calls to you. This is the silent break. It is not a grand leap. It is a single step. But it is the most important step you will ever take. It is the act of proving to your own psyche, with your actions, that you are worthy of beginning your life as you are, not as some fantasy version of yourself that may or may not exist in the future. You are calling the bluff of your own fear, and you are discovering the most profound truth. The road to your future is not built by waiting. It is built by the very act of walking. We began this journey acknowledging the subtle, slow poisons that can silently destroy a life from within. We have named them: the need for others to understand you, the secret scoreboard of resentment, the hope that potential will become reality, the role of the unofficial therapist, and the lifelong agreement with later. We have learned that the antidote to each of these poisons is not a loud and dramatic battle, but a series of quiet, sovereign, and internal choices. It is the choice to become the sole judge of your own reality, the choice to wipe the scoreboard clean, the choice to embrace the reality of what is, not the fantasy of what could be, the choice to be a compassionate witness, not a rescuer, and the choice to take the first imperfect step today. And here we arrive at the final beautiful reframe. The act of silently removing these things from your life is not an act of deprivation. You are not losing anything of value. You are, in fact, performing the most profound act of creation. Think of your life as a sacred garden. For years, these 5 poisons have been the invasive weeds, silently choking the life from your soil, stealing the sun from your true flowers. The work we have discussed is the act of a master gardener. You have been gently and mercilessly pulling these weeds, one by one. And by removing the weight, the poison, the clutter, you are not creating an empty space. You are creating a sacred space. You are clearing the soil, allowing the sun to finally reach the seeds of your true self, of authentic love, and of genuine peace that have been patiently waiting to grow all along. The ultimate truth is this: freedom is not found in what you acquire in life, but in what you have the courage to release. And as you release these heavy chains, you will begin to feel a new and unfamiliar sensation. It is a feeling of lightness. It is the feeling of your own soul finally unburdened, beginning to remember its own natural state. And that state is one of peace, of power, and of profound, unshakable joy.